Hi everyone. Computers and digital technologies have long become an integral and important part of our life. So important they turned into a real battlefield. And no, we're not talking about heated arguments in the comments section. Highly intelligent, tech-savvy guys are not always good. The most harmless thing that hackers can do is hack your mail or a social network account. But sometimes their pranks go so far that they become a threat to national security, and the FBI starts looking for them. Today, we will tell you about the most wanted hackers in modern history. Let's get it on. Commander X. This man, whose real name is Christopher Doyon, has more than 7,000 followers on Twitter, even though he's been on the run from the US authorities for more than a year. So it would seem he should have probably stayed anonymous. Doyon is reckless, but quite respected in the global hacking community. He not only manages to stay in touch with his fans, but even openly ridicules those who try to catch him. Moreover, several years ago, Commander X released a book describing his activities in the largest hacker group called Anonymous, where he quickly rose from an ordinary hacker to a leader. You have to admit, he's not very smart to write about one of the most wanted organizations the FBI is looking for. However, given that after his escape from America, Commander X gave many interviews, the book wouldn't probably make the matters any worse. One of the first major achievements of Commander X in the Anonymous team was the hacking of the government website of Santa Cruz, which was a kind of protest against the government's policy towards the homeless population. And although Doyon believes that it was just a prank, the authorities sentenced him to 15 years in prison. His most incredible achievement, though, showing the strength of his character and his ideology, was hacking and collecting data of all the citizens of Egypt during the protests. The main goal of Anonymous was a psychological attack on the Egyptian government. In order to succeed, Doyon had to work in strange conditions. During the day, he worked on a project in one of the coffee shops in San Francisco, and at night, he slept with his laptop in the alley behind it, continuing to collect data. His escape from the United States when the court released the hacker on bail looks like a scene from a spy movie. Earlier, Commander X designed an underground railway to the border with Canada to transport American activists out of harm's way and into Canada. In the end, he had to use it for his own escape. Hector Monsegur. Here's another member of the Anonymous community. He could be rightfully called a born hacker because he started from a very young age. Hector was raised by his grandmother, who lived in a poor neighborhood in New York. One day he decided to start providing for his family and stole credit card data using his hacker skills. This helped him pay the bills and live a better life. After he joined Anonymous, Hector's assignments became much more serious. For example, he hacked into the website of the Tunisian Prime Minister, where he posted a letter in support of protesters against the local government. After that, Hector probably felt that he was some sort of a Robin Hood who could help hundreds of people at once without even leaving his apartment. The hacker's success ended when he boldly decided to attack the website of one of the FBI branches, and the very next day, several agents knocked on his door. Hector, who orchestrated more than 1,000 different hacker attacks, faced 124 years in prison. Just imagine that. It is impossible to comprehend this sentence, let alone carry it out. To avoid punishment, Hector had to become an informant and work for the FBI. During 3 years of collaboration, the hacker helped prevent more than 300 cyber attacks on the US government, the American military, and NASA. Perhaps if Hector had a different upbringing, his life would have been completely different, and he wouldn't have become a former criminal collaborating with the FBI, but one of the coolest specialists in Silicon Valley. But that's another story. Marcus Hutchins. The man who saved the internet. This is a title Marcus Hutchins deserved. Marcus is a young and promising hacker. He managed to escape justice for a long time. Ironically, he was caught after he thwarted the virus, destroying the data of hundreds of thousands of users. To pull this off, you need to be really gifted, don't you think? When Marcus was a kid, his parents already realized that he had a great future in the IT field. Computer studies didn't give the boy what he wanted. Marcus was often bored, so he continued to study on his own. He wasn't allowed to play his favorite Counter-Strike or Call of Duty games, which you see seemed unfair to the kid. Perhaps his hacking career was just revenge on his boring teachers. At the age of 13, his parents gave Marcus his first computer, which he disassembled and reassembled, replacing certain components. A year later, he created the first software to steal passwords of internet users, after he found out where the Internet Explorer stored encryption keys. 2 years later, he just quit school. 3 years later, he started to offer his services on the dark net. His business went well. He soon became one of the main developers of software for stealing banking data of thousands of people. After his arrest, he confessed to his crimes. The trial lasted several years, and Marcus was already mentally preparing for life in prison. But his case took a truly unexpected turn. The judge cleared the hacker of all charges, saying that saving the world from a virus destroying everything in its path outweighed the crimes that the hacker had committed. Eric Taylor. Another child prodigy known in certain circles as Cosmo the God began his hacking career at the age of 12. As Eric puts it, he never felt tempted by the money hacking could bring him, but was only ever interested in the process. For him, it was all just one big adventure that brought him a lot of fun. After he discovered like-minded people on the net, Taylor teamed up with them to target and retrieve user data from websites like Amazon, Apple, and Netflix, though the companies don't confirm this. When that got too boring, the hackers would prank the police by sending them signals about terrible and violent crimes. When the police officers arrived at the given address, they usually found nothing. After that, Taylor started stealing celebrities' personal data. His victims included golf player Tiger Woods, former director of the CIA John Brennan, a well-known model Kim Kardashian, and even former First Lady of the United States Michelle Obama. Quite an impressive track record, isn't it? Cosmo the God tried to pin the blame for his crimes on Russian hackers, but failed. After his arrest, Taylor turned to the good side, so to speak, and now works as a cybersecurity consultant, protecting various companies from hacker attacks. Martin Shkreli. Known in America under the handle Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli founded his pharmaceutical company, which nearly bankrupted the buyers of vital drugs. Just think about it. His company raised the cost of drugs against HIV by over 5,000%. Only a very bold person would dare to try something like that. At the same time, Shkreli managed to fool his investors by telling them all sorts of lies about managing too large money funds. Shkreli's fraud was exposed though, and the failed businessman was sentenced to 7 years in prison with the seizure of all of his tax assets and property. Surprisingly enough, he was the owner of the only copy of one of the rap group Wu-Tang Clan's records, as well as a rare painting by Picasso. La Cosa Nostra. This is one of the most high-profile and successful cases of the FBI in recent times. FBI! In just one night, the agents managed to arrest 130 members of the world's largest mafia group, La Cosa Nostra, at once. This is something you won't even see in movies, although Hollywood has been making films about criminal clans since the last century. Don't think that the mafia these days is as noble as it was shown in The Godfather. They commit robbery, murders, racketeering, and extortion, destroy lives, and live at the expense of others. If you for some reason believe that there's almost nothing left of the mafia today, you are well mistaken. 500 FBI agents and over 200 law enforcement officers were involved in the operation, which began in the night. By 11 a.m., over 100 people were arrested. The operation took only a day. It was followed by a high-profile trial that dealt a serious blow to the mafia's activities on the east coast of America. Kevin Mitnick. Here is one of the oldest and most famous hackers in the world. When he was a teenager, it was a dawn of the computer era, and various companies were going digital. Mitnick constantly attacked major companies like IBM, Motorola, and Nokia. By 1985, he was the world's most wanted hacker. It took several years to hunt him down. Mitnick, unlike other hackers we've mentioned today, had to spend some time in prison. After being released, the hacker decided to play for the good side and become a private cybersecurity consultant. However, this role didn't fully satisfy his ambitions. That's why today, he is quite an ambiguous figure. He registered a firm that sells hacking tools to state-owned corporations. Mitnick guarantees full exclusivity and security of the products for the customers whose names he refuses to disclose. It is a controversial issue from the ethical viewpoint. On the one hand, this can help reduce the threat from various dangerous groups, and on the other hand, who knows, maybe the government could easily sneak into your computer to check the latest downloads from pirate sites. It's up to you to decide how you feel about that.